Hey buddy, it's Peter, and this is the 2025 BMW G310 GS. And I know what you're thinking, hey, isn't there a new model of that coming out next year? Well, there is, and that's why this is a great time for certain riders to buy one today, because that new model, there's no way it comes in at the same price as this. So I am filming here at Rally Motoplex, which is an awesome dealer that I just have been able to film at just today. I've done my first videos here, and these guys are giving me complete access to their entire product lineup, and this is the very first BMW that I'm reviewing. So if BMWs are your thing, or Triumphs, or what else we got? Indian, Yamaha, Suzuki, Ducati, and a whole lot more. CF Moto, Royal Enfield, and a whole bunch more. All of that is going to come from here, but I also, of course, film Honda, Kawasaki, Husqvarna, KTM, all kinds of stuff, and Can-Am stuff. So nobody will film more motorcycles in Canada this year than me, and that's what we're doing right now. So I want to thank these guys for giving me access, and if you can hit subscribe, that'd be great. If you want to leave a positive comment, that'd be great. Hit the like button, that'd be awesome. And if you just want to help me out and help me continue to grow, just watch one of my videos or watch some of my videos right to the end. All right, let's get going with this review. So I mentioned off the top that BMW has semi-introduced a 450 version of this, a new updated version of this that will be likely replacing this at some point. Now I say at some point because we don't really, at least I haven't been told for sure when that's coming to Canada, but I also want to point out that this is a 2025, the 2024s are identical to it, and Rally Motoplex is selling one of these, I think they have one left still, 2024 at time of filming, for under $5,000, which means you can get into a BMW cheaper than a lot of dual sports. You can get into a BMW cheaper than CF Moto, cheaper than Royal Enfield, and this is the bike. And this is a really capable bike, especially if you're a new rider or new to off-road, or you want a small secondary bike or a small get back into it bike. These things are actually pretty good. So what we're gonna do in this video is talk about this thing bit by bit, recognizing that it's not the pinnacle, the peak. It's not even BMW's pinnacle or peak at this level because they're introducing a new model. But there's a lot of great things on this bike, and you can do a lot with it. And this may or may not be the right bike for you, and that's what we're going to try to help you decide. So let's get going by starting at the front wheel. So if you've seen my reviews before, you know I love to start at the front wheel because you can talk about the manufacturer's intent of a motorcycle. Now, if you've seen a review of this bike before, and it's probably been done by a heavy-duty adventure rider, they're going to tell you there are things wrong with this. For instance, you want a spoked rim and you want a 21-inch wheel, but you know what? For this class of bike and for the average person that's going to buy this bike, the reason you would want a spoked rim is because spoked rims are stronger, but you don't need any more strength than this, and if you wanted to, you could update it in the future because, again, these things aren't that expensive. It is a 19-inch wheel. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll get you through. 21, of course, is what the standard is. 21-inch wheel is going to give you a little more tire options, but you know what? You don't need more options, you need enough options for you, and this is going to be great for that. You do have a nice upside down suspension here. You have the brakes over single brake on this side, which is class competitive. It has ABS, of course, and the nice thing is it has the braided brake lines, which you don't traditionally see on bikes that cost a lot more than this, but BMW knows, hey, if you're taking this off-road, there could be some sticks and other stuff that could get in the way, and we're going to make sure you have a strong brake line there. It also assists with brake feel, generally speaking, so I'm not going to claim that these are the best feeling brakes in the world because they are built for a budget, but we're going to show you them right now anyways. So we're filming with the sun the wrong way here, but hopefully you can see that here. What you have is bi-brake brakes here. So bi-brake is exactly that, by Brembo. So it is a lower trim level of Brembo, but it's still a Brembo brake essentially. The same as a Lexus is still a Toyota, and a Toyota is kind of still a Lexus, right? So you do have quality brakes on here. They are radial mounted. Usually when you see this triangle type mount, what that means is you have a stronger mounting point. So again, good mounting there. You've got some quality here, and then the tire as well. Again, if you watch the reviews of these bikes by the professional riders, they'll say, oh, the first thing you got to do is you got to get a new tire here, but that's not the case. If you're just doing gravel roads and you're staying on-road and off-road, these will be just fine for you. If you are going fully off-road, maybe a dual sport bike is better, or you can upgrade the tires for only off-road on this, or primarily off-road if that's what you want to do. But if you're heading down gravel roads and that kind of thing, dirt roads, these are going to be just fine for you. Take a look at the heart of this bike, a 310cc or I don't remember the exact 310 is what it's labeled at, but it's a double overhead cam engine. It is a single cylinder. It makes about 37 or so horsepower, and that is plenty to go highway speeds and beyond. It's still going to leave you with passing power at highway speeds. Now, if you've ever driven a bigger bike, you're going to know that, you know, even with, like, for instance, myself, I had a 110 horsepower bike. I would avoid driving that on the highways as much as possible because it's just not as fun riding a motorcycle on the major highways. Backcountry roads is where you want to ride any motorcycle, and this is perfect for that. But if you have to do a couple hours on the highway, no problem, this bike can do it. It is a thumper, they call it, a single cylinder thumper, so it has some vibes to it, but nothing that's going to get in the way. You do have street slash off-road oriented pegs here. So the bigger BMWs are going to have bigger pegs, and they have the rubber inserts here. I want to zoom into that for a second just so I can show you what we're talking about. Let's just see if we can get that there. So again, on a traditional bike, and this isn't going to show up on video, on a traditional BMW or adventure bike, you tend to have a little bit larger pegs, but this rubber insert is able to come out, and you have the teeth there so you can clear mud through there. Brake pedal clears mud, no problem. So if you wanted to upgrade them, there's plenty of upgrade parts available for this bike. You could do that, but again, for getting on it, it makes no difference. You can ride with those pegs just as they are right now. So stepping across this bike, I haven't got the weight, you guys can look that kind of thing up, but I will tell you, when you step across this bike, I'm a 6-footer, it is a taller bike. Now it does compress a little bit on the suspension, as you see if I drop my weight on here, I'm about 175-ish pounds or so. I can flat foot it as a 6-footer here because the front of the seat is narrow. The rear of the seat, wide enough for me, no big deal there, and the seating position is very, very comfortable. If you are a newer rider, one of the things I really try to encourage you to do is get a versatile bike, and a versatile bike is a bike that can do a little bit of everything. If you get this and you decide the best thing about motorcycling is zipping around corners and that kind of thing, and you want to move to a sport bike, that's fine, you can do that, but you can decide this will give you a great flickability that other bikes won't have just for getting around corners. If you decide you mostly like the off-road stuff, you can do the off-road stuff. If you decide you want to do touring, the exhaust here is mounted down low. We'll let that bike go by. But the exhaust here is mounted down low. You can put soft bags, you can put hard bags, you can put all kinds of stuff in here. It's got a big rack. We're going to show you all of that in a second. So it's a very, very versatile bike. One of the things that's underrated about these bikes is it's fun to zip them through the gears, it's fun through town, fun on country highways, and cruising country road corners and in through towns and corners. Unless you're dragging your knee on a sport bike, which nobody is on the roads, or you shouldn't be, then this is going to be just as sporty as those. And what that means is you have a bike that can kind of do anything, and in addition to that, you have this upright, comfortable seating position. Now, if you're shorter than me, you'll still fit. You may be slightly tippy-toed. It is incredibly confidence-inspiring, even if you're shorter. So don't rule it out because you look at it and it seems tall. Hop across it, see what you think. But I can tell you, as a full-size rider, it's big enough. Some bikes are really small. It's big enough for me. It feels like a bigger bike, except for the weight. So let's talk about some of that cargo ability, and then we're going to take a look at the dash here. So take a look at the seat and the rack here. The rack is just slightly bit higher than the seat, which is basically what you want. You want to have it basically level with the seat so that if you don't want to spend money on luggage, you can just strap on a duffel bag here with a cargo net or something like that, or bungees and stuff like that, and you've got all the room to take. Now, what's cool about this is actually quite a large rack. I really like that because it gives you some options. You can see the drilled holes in here. That's going to mount different mounting plates for hard top boxes. So if you wanted lockable storage on the bike, if you're heading to the gym, that kind of thing, or making stops around town, you want to keep things locked up, you can do that here. You can also fit, like I said, side bags on there, and that's one of the things that this bike can handle. A lot of bikes, smaller bikes, you know, Yamaha R3 is a popular 300-ish cylinder or 300-ish cc bike. It's not going to be able to take your stuff with you in the same way that this can, and this is, you know, in a lot of ways just as fun to drive as that kind of sport bike because, again, you're still limited by displacement. So let's take a look at the dash now. So one of the things that happens when you turn on a BMW, if the service light isn't reset, it's going to take a long time to switch to that because it wants the owner to know that. So this is not a TFT dash or anything like that, but it's just telling us, hey, that's first service and the service has to be reset, and then it comes into here. So you've got a lot of things. Let's zoom into the dash here. A lot of things going on. It tells you the range up top, kilometers an hour. You've got a straight tachometer along the bottom, so it's all evenly spread. So as you see things build up here, you can kind of get a sense of where you are. You don't have to read the number 9, you know, I'm right near the end. You can see 4, 5, that kind of thing. You do have to rev this to make good power, so that's fine. It can handle the revs. You've got a gear indicator. It is a 6-speed transmission. There are dual sports out there that are bigger bigger bikes that don't have a whole lot more horsepower that only have 5-speed transmissions, so you don't want that if you can get a 6-speed. And again, you've got a fuel gauge to the side, so you've got all the basics here. You've got some basic buttons here. You can switch to odometer, switch to trip 1, switch to trip 2, the engine temperature, and then back to range again, which is calculated as you're driving. So you've got a lot of the things that you need in there. And then as we zoom out a little bit and come over to the controls here, let's see if we can do that all in the same shot here as well. You have some nice controls here that are very simple as well. So your flash to pass high beam is right here, so that's good to get people's attention if you need to. You can lock your high beams on right there. Big signal switch, big horn switch, which is nice. You do have adjustable levers here on the clutch side and the brake side, so you can adjust them for shorter or bigger hands, but you can also adjust it to have that grab point be exactly where you want it. Mirrors are out here on the stems here, or on the stems are on the handlebars here, so they're nice and close to you, nice and wide, so they're going to look past your shoulders just fine. And then let's just show you the controls on the far side there. You have your start switch there, hopefully you can see that, and your kill switch on top. Now, one thing I will point out, when you have a bike with handlebars like this, that makes it way easier to mount things like quad locks, or to mount things like phone mounts and GPS mounts. So if you really want to turn this into a tour, you could. You also have the ability to get larger windscreens, where some people put GPSs in there, and you can use this as a full touring bike, and you can impress your friends because you just bought a brand new BMW for a lot less money than they would expect. So let's start with a couple questions that I know I'm going to get all the time. Is this fast enough for the highway? Absolutely, it is. Like I said, you don't want to go on the highway on any bike unless it's like a big, huge distance cruiser, but a regular type of bike, just because the engine can handle the highway doesn't mean that you're going to want to be on the highway, because it's both boring, it's just a little bit different wind at those kinds of speeds, there's traffic all around you, that kind of thing. It's just not as exciting. So can it go on the highway? A couple hours of highway stint? No problem. If you commute on the highway every day, no problem. Where this bike is great is kind of as an all-roads kind of bike. Now, you can take it a little bit further off-road. Some will complain that the suspension is soft. Now, those are experienced riders who are taking it off of jumps or hardcore off-road. If you're going down regular roads, regular rough country roads, gravel roads, or dirt roads with just kind of undulations and bumps, the suspension's probably going to be just fine for you. If you start putting a second passenger on here, you're going to compress that suspension, and you're going to be overloading the suspension if you go off-road. But zipping around town with a passenger, this bike is fine. And fine is a word that a lot of people get concerned about. You know, it's not overpowered, but it'll do everything you want to do. The one thing I've tried to tell people a lot, especially new riders, is if you move up from a small displacement bike to a bigger displacement bike, you're going to add weight. This thing is fun because it's really lightweight. It gives you confidence. You can zip it through all the gears in your normal driving, which makes it fun. That's why I love small displacement bikes. I currently drive a 450cc single cylinder bike. That's my everyday daily driver kind of bike, and it's awesome. I actually enjoy it more than my 4-cylinder Kawasaki for my regular type of driving. So I would encourage you, if you're looking at dual sports, if you're looking at small adventure bikes, to keep the BMW in mind, because it's not a premium offering like it would be in cars. This is a very good first bike, very good beginner bike, and the bigger thing is it's a versatile bike that allows you to figure out the types of riding you want to do if you want to move on, or you can keep it around and make it your full-on adventure bike. You can update it as you go, put all the bags and stuff on, put a bigger windscreen, and just have fun with everything that it is. This is a very good bike, and like I said, there's one left at time of filming, a 2024 for under $5,000 Canadian. And if you're American, go do your configurator and check what that is on American dollars. It's a steal of a deal, available at Rally Motorplex. So thanks everybody for watching this one, and we'll talk to you in the next one.